All season long, Oklahoma's been playing on a whole different level from everyone else, and people have been saying they basically already locked in the championship. On the other side, Indiana's been using their signature energy and fast-paced game all playoffs, with Tyrese Haliburton proving he's a true superstar. Now both teams have made it to the finals to see who comes out on top. Everyone expected Oklahoma to have the clear upper hand, but Game 1 could have totally shifted the momentum depending on who won.
This Oklahoma team really plays a different brand of basketball.
Wallace got the surprise start over Hartenstein, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander opened the scoring with a burst of speed. Sure, Nembhard, who's been guarding every team's ace all playoffs, did manage to block one of Shai's shots early on, but Indiana's real problem early was more on offense than defense.
There's the rebound. Stops, pulls up, three-pointer, got it!
Oklahoma already looked better balanced on both ends of the floor. So far, the home team's small ball lineup seemed to be working well, but Indiana slowly started figuring out how to break it down. One of their few advantages was the mismatch between Siakam and Wallace. If they could fully exploit that, the road team had a real shot. Siakam stepped up, helping Indiana close the gap quickly, and they held their own in their signature up-tempo style. Even with Jalen Williams struggling with his shots, Oklahoma stayed in control thanks to aggressive rebounding.
Gilgeous-Alexander splits the defense inside. Gorgeous move from SGA. He's got 9 early points.
And Shai's steady scoring keeping the lead intact. Shai looked totally unbothered in his first finals appearance. Meanwhile, Indiana was racking up way too many turnovers, falling into exactly the kind of sloppy game Oklahoma thrives on. And to make it worse, their bench wasn't showing up either. Caruso totally shut down Benedict Mathurin, and right after, Shai nailed a mid-range jumper on the next possession. A perfect example of Oklahoma's balance on offense and defense. Even Hartenstein coming off the bench made sure his presence was felt, and the home team finished the first quarter comfortably, even after briefly being tied. Indiana couldn't even get shots up because of all the turnovers, but in the second quarter, they started trying to mount a comeback. What caught them off guard was Caruso getting involved on offense too, which Indiana definitely didn't see coming. As their shots started falling, Indiana slowly closed the gap, though Oklahoma kept up their gritty defense. Caruso, arguably the league's best at this kind of defense, but with the home team rotating too much, their offense began to stall a bit.
Haliburton, nice fake, launches that three-pointer, it's good. Haliburton with his second three. And even with all the turnover.
And that's when Haliburton, who'd been quiet, nailed a clutch three. Indiana didn't let the lead balloon into double digits at least, but Oklahoma kept forcing those relentless turnovers. So the game never fully swung in Indiana's favor. Shai did go a little cold with his jumper though. That's when an unexpected player stepped up for the home team. Lu Dort hit a timely three that really woke them up. That helped Oklahoma, who was already dominating the turnover battle, limit Indiana's shot attempts even further. Even with Jalen Williams still struggling to shoot, Indiana's turnover control was honestly just painful to watch. With Dort becoming the surprise game changer,
SGA on the spin, gets in the paint, left-handed off the glass, another sweet move from Gilgeous-Alexander.
And Shai's nearly unstoppable attacks at the rim. Even though their Team 4G% was under 40% in the half, they still went into halftime with a solid lead. SGA locking up Haliburton even at the buzzer. Given the huge turnover difference, the lead made total sense. Indiana needed more from their key guys, no other way around it. At least J-Dub and Holmgren were playing solid defense. That was a bright spot. Haliburton still wasn't living up to his name, but he did dish out a beautiful dime to set up Siakam. Still, no one could figure out how to stop Shai. And yeah, Indiana just kept on giving the ball away. It was exhausting. Thanks to that, Oklahoma stayed in control with a steady 10-point lead. And honestly, considering J-Dub and Holmgren weren't even playing that well, the fact that OKC was still leading was kind of scary. And Dort, who was already impressive in the first half,
bails him out with an offensive rebound, and Obi a tough shot.
Dort comes right back. Dort's got 5 threes.
Before anyone noticed, he was already hitting his 5th three of the night. Haliburton didn't even score until halfway through the quarter, but the real question was, could Indiana actually make a run? Then Mathurin came up huge with a monster block on Jalen Williams. Maybe just the spark Indiana desperately needed. But even Siakam, the guy they counted on, wasn't really showing up, so Indiana had to settle for just not falling further behind. They did manage to cut it to 6 at one point.
4 seconds. SGA against Shepherd, puts up a 3, puts it in with 7/10 of a second remaining.
But Shai responded instantly with a nasty pull-up 3.
Oklahoma just kept proving they knew how to protect a lead. They made sure Indiana felt that gap in strength and depth, and Jalen Williams stepped up during Shai's break, shutting down Indiana's usual fourth quarter spark. Considering how many comebacks Indiana had this postseason, Oklahoma's job was simple. Don't even give them a chance. Jalen Williams heating up was a huge boost, no doubt.
Good ball denial. Stolen by Williams. Bad pass, a turnover, and a costly one as Jalen Williams throws it down. Largest lead of the game. Timeout, Indiana.
A silly inbound turnover from Indiana led to a J-Dub dunk, so they barely even noticed Shai was off the floor. It was starting to look like Indiana would just chase and fall short. Caruso, once again doing everything on both ends, got an and one and hit double digits in scoring. At that point, it looked like an easy Oklahoma win. There was still way too much time left for Indiana to give up. Then suddenly, back-to-back threes from Indiana flipped the mood. There was still plenty of time left on the clock. Obi Toppin came off the bench and hit some big-time shots way beyond expectations, and just like that, Indiana was right back in it. Then Miles Turner banked in a crazy 3, and boom, the gap was down to 2 possessions. Oklahoma gave up that scoring run way too fast, but Shai calmed things down a bit by drawing a foul and hitting free throws. Still, the whole vibe of the game had shifted into a nail-biter. Indiana's incredible fight was actually rattling Oklahoma, but Haliburton still hadn't really found his rhythm.
Lead here in game 1 of the finals. SGA the drive, SGA the finish.
Shai came to the rescue with another clutch bucket, exactly the kind of moment you want from your superstar. Still, the road team just refused to go away.
Because the defense has been so aggressive.
Nembhard steps back, 3-pointer. Got it! 3-pointer from Nembhard. It's a
Instead of Haliburton, it was Andrew Nembhard running the offense. Oklahoma was barely holding the lead when Dort came up with a huge block, and it looked like that might kill the comeback. But then Shai, who had been awesome all game, got blocked by Siakam. That block helped Indiana cut it to just 1. It was clutch time. Indiana's fourth quarter magic showed up once again. Jalen Williams missed his shot on the next possession, but OKC barely hung on to the ball. Coach Carlisle went for a bold challenge, but Wallace's contact wasn't called a foul. A super frustrating moment for Indiana. So OKC still had the edge technically, but Shai missed a big jumper that could have sealed it, and suddenly Indiana had a real shot to take the lead. Finally, Coach Carlisle didn't even call timeout.
final seconds, no fouls to give. Haliburton looking. Haliburton driving, pulls up, jump shot. It's good! It's good! With 0.3 of a second remaining. Timeout, OKC. Tyrese Haliburton does it again.
And then boom, a miracle Haliburton ending. Haliburton, who had been underwhelming all game, hit the shocking game winner. Indiana had never led the whole game until right before the buzzer. For Oklahoma, it was a total heartbreak. Their final possession came too late and they missed. A game they absolutely should have won. Meanwhile, Indiana pulled off a miracle after trailing by 15. They've now come back from 15 plus down 5 times this postseason, and once again they turned a near impossible game into a win. Lots of players stepped up to keep it close to the end. Haliburton totally redeemed himself with one of the wildest game winners ever. This finals was supposed to be all OKC, but Indiana flipped the script with a dramatic Game 1 win. Now this series is wide open, and it's going to be fun.
I mean, we just figured out we're a resilient group, and it ain't over till it's over. It ain't over till it hits 0, and we just keep pushing. So, like I said.